In the town of Tracy, in Northern California, April 2009. A farmer laying irrigation pipes makes a grisly discovery.
Take a look.
A suitcase. Inside it is the tiny corpse of a missing 8-year-old girl. The police search for her has captured the hearts and minds of the nation.
When the news was announced, a lot of people were surrounding their television screens and they just started crying, and just a total shock for everyone.
"28-year-old Melissa Huckabe is a familiar face in her grandfather's church.
Her grandfather is the pastor at the local church.
Did you know that few people know more than 3 or 4 of the commandments?
Really?
If they'd study the commandments in more detail, they'd find they're not a list of do-nots, but rather God's guide to the good life.
The single mother teaches Sunday school. One of her pupils is her 6-year-old daughter, Madison.
Very caring, loving mom. Has a little bit of a college background, went to junior college. Very well spoken.
That's beautiful.
Very pleasant.
But Melissa's hiding a dark secret.
She became deeply disturbed and started cutting herself, and the depression really kicked in, and she turned to self-harm.
Melissa suffers from bipolar disorder. Her extreme mood swings are tempered by medication.
If you met Melissa, you'd have no idea that she had a bipolar personality.
She had, over the years, gotten really good at just hiding that part of herself from the world.
Melissa and her daughter live in a trailer park. A regular playmate is 8-year-old Sandra Kantu. But instead of encouraging the friendship with her daughter, Melissa is jealous.
Sandra, it's time to go home.
Melissa had to be the center of an attention. Melissa struggled to share a relationship that involved 3 people. She needed to be in a relationship that she can manipulate.
Another little friend is Melody, and she is about to experience Melissa's jealousy firsthand.
Hey kids, come and get a drink.
In January 2009, she drugs her daughter's playmate with her bipolar medication, benzodiazepine. When Melissa brings her home later, Melody is acting strangely.
How dare you take my child out of the park?
She told me she had permission.
Very much doubt that.
Melody started exhibiting some lethargic behaviors
Stay away from my daughter.
and lost control of her body. And so Melody's mom became concerned, rushed her to the hospital.
Little Melody is okay once the benzodiazepine wears off. Her mom tells police she believes Melody has been drugged. But the Sunday school teacher convinces them she's done nothing wrong.
I think that just on a superficial level, the detectives decided to trust Melissa.
But they shouldn't. Two months later, Melissa is at it again, this time drugging a boyfriend.
Here, drink this.
She offered a drink.
What is that?
It's a vitamin supplement.
Well, it's bitter. It's disgusting.
Told him he was drinking some type of energy drink. He drank it.
I feel sick. I'm going home.
Later that night, police find him passed out behind the wheel and assume he is drunk.
He gets arrested, his blood's taken, so those samples are submitted and come back with nothing in them.
She gave each of those people small doses of her own medication just to see the effect it would have on them. She was testing for the big day.
Over 2 months, Melissa secretly sedates 2 innocent people. And there will be a 3rd victim. Eight-year-old Sandra Kantu is the darling of the Orchard Estates trailer park in Tracy.
Thanks for doing the gardening, Sandra.
That's okay. Is there anything else I can do for you today?
Maybe you could do some weeding for me.
Okay.
She was a bubbly little girl. She was friendly. She was always looking for attention from adults.
Very outgoing, very photogenic, very jubilant kid. Loved to play with the different kids in the trailer park.
Sandra's friendship with Madison Huckabe would delight most moms. But for Melissa, it's a threat.
Melissa's now losing time with her daughter to the point where it makes her jealous. That's all she had left was Madison. She didn't have a husband. She couldn't keep her boyfriend. Her grandparents were getting tired of her.
But March 27th, 2009, will be Sandra Kantu's last play date. Sunday school teacher Melissa Huckabe is hiding a dark secret. She suffers from bipolar disorder and is insanely possessive of her daughter, Madison. She sees her 8-year-old playmate, Sandra Kantu, as a threat.
Hey, Sandra. Hi. Do you want to come down to the church with me?
Melissa lures Sandra into her car.
Sandra's last seen walking on the video surveillance camera.
And takes her to a place where the whole community feels safe. Her grandfather's church. Again, she uses her prescription medicine.
Sandra Kantu first was drugged by Melissa Huckabe with a sedative that would have put most adults to sleep.
Sandra.
Benzodiazepine, that chemical itself, it's going to knock her out. She's going to lose control of her muscles almost to the point where it paralyzes her.
And it's not over yet. Melissa soaks a rag in rubbing alcohol.
The smothering is going to be what actually kills her. Isopropyl displaces oxygen. You displace a person's oxygen, they can't breathe, therefore they can't breathe, their heart stops.
This is not a crime of passion. This is something Melissa had been planning for quite a while. This was something that had been in her heart and her mind probably for over a decade.
Melissa prepares Sandra for a lonely burial.
Places her back in the suitcase, dressed, fully clothed, then places the body in there in the fetal position.
She drives Sandra's body to a murky irrigation pond.
Where she dumps her, pushes the suitcase into the water.
The disappearance of Sandra Kantu makes national news.
Community would gather outside the mobile home park and hold a candlelight vigil, and there would be prayers. People would sing. They would keep reminding everyone that we're going to keep searching.
Detectives soon discover one resident is particularly anxious to help. Self-confessed crime show fanatic, Melissa Huckabe.
Hi, it's Melissa. My Eddie Bar suitcase has been stolen.
Melissa drew attention to herself early in the investigation by telling people and telling the police she had had a suitcase stolen from her front sidewalk.
Officer! Officer!
Then she approaches police with a potential breakthrough.
I found it on my way to the manager's trailer.
Let me take a look.
The day after Sandra goes missing, she finds a note in the park that says, Cantu locked in stolen suitcase, water, Bachetti Road, Whitehall Road, and witnessed.
My suitcase was stolen.
Melissa's cat and mouse games with the police and the FBI agents on site were nothing less than kind of a, look at me, but I'm not guilty. They became suspicious of her almost immediately.
It's big enough to hold a child.
The police retest the blood samples taken months earlier from Melody and Daniel Plowman. This time, they're specifically looking for Melissa's prescription medication.
In their blood, we found benzodiazepine, one of the chemicals in one of the 3 prescription antidepressant medications that Melissa takes for her bipolar.
She was testing the dosing. How much of her bipolar medication would she have to give someone? It was all working up to the moment when she would drug Sandra Kantu.
But there is even more horrific news. The autopsy reveals 8-year-old Sandra has been raped.
The sexual assault did not occur by a male's penis.
A search of Melissa's church reveals a blood-stained rolling pin.
We found Sandra's DNA on both ends of the rolling pin.
Detective Tim Bauer thinks wannabe criminologist Melissa staged the rape to throw police off her scent.
She would know that we would look at a male suspect for this type of crime. I think she did it as a ploy to try to throw us off in, placing her as the murderer.
But criminal profiler Candice DeLong suspects there's more to it.
I think Melissa Huckabe had a long-standing desire. Physical, sexual desire to exert power over a young child.
A sexual crime or irrational jealousy. Only Melissa knows. But she never tells. She agrees to plead guilty to murder if the prosecutors drop the rape charge.
Melissa escaped the death penalty and escaped a trial, and that a little girl who was found to be raped, there was no justice for that part of the crime.
She is nothing more or less than a rapist. A child rapist. That was the purpose of the murder. The murder was to hide the sexual assault. The purpose of grabbing Sandra Kantu was sexual homicide.
In 2010, Melissa is sentenced to life with no chance of parole.
There was no lesson learned here. It was just a total betrayal of trust. You really can't see it coming.
What's rare about her is that She's a woman, and she was not acting in concert with a man. And that makes Melissa a very deadly woman.
Lumberton, North Carolina, 1970. A common household tragedy.
Thomas had been smoking in bed and started the fire by himself.
He burns to death in his own bed.
Everyone felt so badly for poor Velma. Her husband burned up in this fire.
38-year-old widow, Velma Burke, slowly recovers from her loss. But 3 years later, tragedy strikes her new partner.
Nobody understood what was wrong with him. He already did have health problems. His lungs were shot. He was diabetic. When he died, again, Velma was a sympathetic widow.
Is Velma cursed? Everyone thinks so. Indeed, Velma has known suffering since she was young.
Velma had a dreadful childhood. Her father was an alcoholic. He was abusive. There was so much wrong. You knew she was going to come out of that childhood as damaged goods.
Like many abused children, Velma tries to mask the pain with drugs.
Velma started using prescription drugs and abusing prescription drugs.
She's soon an addict, and doctor shops to get prescriptions.
Velma had a lot of emotional problems and wasn't getting the psychiatric help that she needed.
Without professional help, her addiction gets worse. And Velma becomes desperate for money.
Eventually, Velma got into the same problem many addicts do. She needed to steal to get money to pay for her habit.
Velma! Velma! Yes, Mom? There's a check missing out of my checkbook.
I think you've probably just forgotten and you've
She starts stealing from her mother.
No, Velma.
Velma was addicted to drugs.
Mama, I'm sure you did.
Drugs that would cause her to have wild mood swings. And Velma was a thief.
I'm going to the bank about it.
I really don't think that's necessary, do you?
It was a very, very dangerous combination.
Velma is a desperate addict who has developed a unique coping mechanism: murder.
I should take over the care of my mother now.
She needed money. She didn't want to get caught. She needed the money to medicate because of the pain that she had.
I bought you some soup.
I can't eat.
I'll make you better in no time.
The whole thing became a vicious cycle for her.
You always say homemade is best.
The weapon of choice is arsenic.
Come on. Come on home. That's it. Okay. Take it slow. Just a little sip.
Poisoning became a way of trying to deal with a problem that she didn't know how else to deal with.
All right. You have a little rest and we'll try again later, huh?
With arsenic, it's very simple to drag the process out. You just give them not quite enough until it all accumulates in your system and they get sicker and sicker and die.
No one suspects Velma.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Because arsenic symptoms mimic normal ailments of the elderly. Velma doesn't get caught for murder, but she does for check fraud. After a short jail term in 1975, she's free to start again.
Montgomery, I have some lovely warm soup for you.
She got a job caring for an elderly man. And his wife was a bit younger than he was, but she had her health problems too.
But Velma also restarts her drug habit. She needs money.
It is an honor and a privilege.
And she's living with easy targets.
Reassuring, thank you.
Anyone around her that made her angry or frustrated or threatened her existence, her freedom of revealing that she was a thief, was in danger of Velma's wrath.
There you go.
Within a year, Montgomery Edwards is dead. One month later, Dolly also dies.
Murder became a maladaptive behavior for Velma. But it worked. And every time she did it, she got away with it for years.
Velma's circle of death is far from over. In the 1970s, in Lumberton, North Carolina, the people close to Velma Barfield keep turning up dead. Unsuspecting family believe Velma is cursed. But in truth, she's addicted to prescription drugs, and to buy them, she kills. In 1977, Velma meets Stuart Taylor.
He was, by all accounts, a nice young man. They had a good relationship initially. It wasn't long before Velma moved in with Stuart and they were living together.
Stuart has no idea who the real Velma is. When he finds a letter from a prison inmate to his girlfriend,
Honey, what you do?
he's shocked.
Honey, you never told me about this.
What?
You never told me you were in prison.
What are you doing with
What do you mean, what am I doing? Why are you keeping secrets from me?
This is my...
You can tell me these things. Why are you holding back?
I don't want to go there. It's just...
He was outraged. She did not tell him about her imprisonment.
I'm gonna tell everybody about you and your secrets.
What are you talking about? Don't you dare.
He threatened to expose her, as it were, to other people.
I'm out of here.
Wait, you get back here. What are you talking about? This is your...
I don't trust
that was a triggering event for the sort of flood of Velma's life history crashing down on her.
When Velma is stressed, her prescription drugs are not enough. She needs to end the source of her pain.
She was frightened, and she fell back into her old habits. Rather than leave, she did what she'd always done when she got into a jam or frustrated. She murdered.
But this is one stress release too many. This time, family don't pity Velma. They accuse her. An autopsy of her fourth victim confirms suspicions.
They found the effects of arsenic in his internal organs, and they knew how he had died. That was the beginning of the end for Velma Barfield.
Faced with a watertight murder charge and the prospect of more to come, an interesting thing happens. Velma Barfield confesses to not 4 murders, but 6. Her first husband, Thomas Burke, didn't leave his cigarette burning. Velma set him on fire. And her frail second husband, another poison victim. The surprises don't stop there. Sentenced to death, Velma is locked away from the prescription drugs that fueled her killing. She becomes the angel of death row.
The people in the prison found that she was a really good counselor for disturbed young women. And they would often put the most disturbed young women in cells next to Velma, knowing that she would soothe them.
Could Velma ever make up for the 6 lives she took? Only she knows. On November 2nd, 1984, Velma Barfield is executed by lethal injection.
She could have become a teacher, a counselor, a pastor. She could have spent her life doing good works instead of hurting people.
Envy of others can be dangerous.
That would be her dream, to own such property.
It can turn neighbor against neighbor.
She would say anything to get what she wanted. I don't even know if I can tell you.
With chilling consequences.
What happened, Kim? This involved a degree of violence that was very great.
That leave communities in shock.
That one of their own should be the killer, which psychologically traumatised that community.
In 2006, Nara, New South Wales, Australia. A small, peaceful town where Greg Hossa and his wife, Catherine McKay, own a horse farm.
They were just a loving couple, gave their time for community groups and organisations.
They board horses on their property. One of their clients is 35-year-old Kim Snibson, a mom with 2 young daughters.
Kim Snibson seemed to be your average mum. She was an animal lover. She had dogs, she had a horse. She seemed to like the rural lifestyle of Nara.
But Kim is a very jealous person. She envies Greg and Catherine's small property. She can only dream of owning one, for now.
Champagne Shires would be her dream, to own such a property. It reflected all the things that she loved the most, touching upon her connection with animals.
Kim has a dark side she hides from her family and an evil plan.
For a significant period of time, she had plans which involved the infliction of violence to obtain something, probably property.
We could do this. We'll kidnap them, get them to sign the house over to me, and then kill them.
She tries to recruit acquaintances to help.
What do you think?
Most think she is joking.
Yeah, sure, Kim. No worries.
She's not.
No, I'm serious. We could do this. And we could split the money 50-50.
There was a history of manipulative behaviour, lying in order to achieve her ends. There was the element of seeking people to sign over property to her.
Friends try to warn Kim's devoted husband, Paul,
Then she said if I could help her to kill them.
about her bizarre plots.
Give us a break. Are you mad? My wife would never say that.
But he doesn't believe their stories.
Paul, she did say that. Bye, honey.
Kim is a very bright person.
She did.
Unfortunately, she used that intellect of hers for evil.
Kim has the perfect place to stable her horse in the caring hands of Greg and Catherine.
She went to the property regularly to tend to her own horse and got to know Greg and Catherine in that way. They were very well respected and loved in that town. It's a small town, everybody knows each other.
Kim always wants something for nothing and doesn't pay the bill.
She owed them $300 for taking care of her horses.
It's a small amount.
Listen, I just wanted to let you know I can't afford to pay my bill right now. But I promise I will pay as soon as I can. It's okay. Whenever you got it. Thank you. Thanks.
Greg and Catherine are understanding, but that doesn't make Kim happy. Instead, it fuels her jealousy of the couple.
She envied what they had.
Clearly, she had her sights on them.
Kim starts fantasizing about owning their horse property.
She wanted them to somehow sign over their farm to her.
It's an insane idea. But like she's done in the past, she tries to recruit help.
I know that you're a family man, and I wasn't even sure if I should be telling you this, but...
By doing what she does best, manipulating people.
There was a history of manipulative behaviour, lying in order to achieve her ends.
She spins neighbor Andrew Flintjar a wicked lie about Greg and Catherine.
Andrew was told by Kim that the couple had sexually abused her child and had videoed the episode.
That's disgusting. People like that should be shot.
Exactly. They need to be punished.
Yeah. I should belt him for touching her. The pervert.
There was no evidence at any time in court that Catherine or Greg had engaged in anything like that.
Andrew thinks it's just muscle she wants.
Go for it.
With Andrew on board, Kim approaches another neighbor.
Stacey Lee Caton was a known criminal. He had said that he had wanted to get his life back on track.
What happened, Kim?
Kim fabricates a different story.
He drugged me. And then he filmed me performing this lewd sex act. It was horrible.
Stacey Lee Caton was told by her that a couple had drugged her, sexually assaulted her, and videoed the episode.
It seems to be a total fantasy on her part.
Stacey.
So she employed a means of modulating the story, depending on the person who was the recipient of it, to press the right buttons. The theme was always one of sexual impropriety. And of course, nothing excites people's sympathy more than that.
Two men,
Stacey.
two different lies, but both take the bait.
I want to get back at him.
She knew exactly what to say to each one to get them worked up enough to help her kill.
It was a very dangerous thing for her to do, because these two had never met each other before and had no reason to meet.
I'll help you, Kim. Just tell me what you want me to do.
Both men underestimate Kim's true nature.
Ken Snibson was the perfect sociopath. Sociopaths love to manipulate other people. It's fun for them. They consider it part of the chase, part of the leading up to any crime.
Kim's ready to make her twisted dreams a deadly reality.
Finally, she worked up to the ultimate crime.
I've got an idea. It's going to take a lot of work.
January 28th, 2006, Nara, Australia. 35-year-old Kim Snibson wants something for nothing. Her web of lies has convinced locals, Andrew Flintjar and Stacey Lee Caton, to help her. They think they are needed to rough up the owners of a horse farm.
Hi, Greg, can you come over? There's something I want to talk to you about.
Kim lures Greg Hossa to her house.
Okay.
She coming?
It's coming.
He came quickly after that conversation occurred. He didn't think that he was in any danger or that there would be any problem.
Kim, hello, it's me. It's Greg.
He was struck to the head with a lump of wood, hog-tied, meaning his feet were bound and pulled up behind his back.
He said, why is this happening? Andrew Flintjar has said it's because of what you did to the kids, or he said something about being a pedophile.
The men finally realize they have been told different lies.
Which is not what Stacey Lee Caton had heard at all. That, according to him, that's not why he was there.
Kim must have known that the point in time would be reached where her lies would be exposed. But she would have then taken things to the point of no return.
With Greg in agony, Kim calls his wife, Catherine.
It's Kim.
It's a call any wife would dread.
There's something I need to tell you about Greg and I. We've been having an affair. Yeah, now it's good. See you in a minute.
There had never been any affair between Greg and Kim Snibson.
Kim, what are you going on about? What's that phone call about? Greg would never do such a thing to me.
She too was hog-tied. She too had a sock stuffed in the mouth and tape wrapped around her mouth as well. One can imagine the fear suffered by these people. This involved a degree of violence that was very great.
Kim gives Andrew and Stacey Lee chilling instructions. It's more than they bargained for.
Keep an eye on him. We're going to go get the barrel.
They collected 44-gallon drums from Champagne Shires and brought them back to the house.
In an ominous move, Catherine is shoved into the oil drum. Kim has a horrific way to deal with her neighbor's resistance.
She murdered Catherine by wrapping tape around her face and eyes and nose. And they stood there and watched her die over several minutes.
Stacey Lee Caton looks on. It was never meant to come to this.
She's dead.
Now it's his turn.
Kim's got a different plan for Greg.
Kim killed Greg Hoser by garroting him with electrical wire. Kim killed them both deliberately and methodically.
Kim is a natural-born killer. She wanted to commit murder.
Kidnapped and brutally forced into makeshift coffins, a loving husband and wife are dead.
Once it got dark, the barrels were loaded into the back of Kim Snibson's station wagon and taken out to the state forest.
Kim Snibson commits one final grisly act.
They were doused in petrol and set alight.
Incinerating the bodies was done for no other purpose than to destroy evidence that those two poor people had ever been to Kim's house that day. I have been involved in some shocking crimes involving dreadful brutality. This case stands out because in my career, I can only reasonably expect to come across one or two sociopaths, and that's what Kim Snibson is.
Within hours, unable to live with the horror he's been part of, Stacey Lee Caton reveals the murderous deed.
Stacey Lee Caton went next door to his sister's house and spoke to her and her husband and gave them some details of what happened, and they took him to the police station.
The community was devastated by it. Devastated. That one of their own should be the killer was something which psychologically traumatised that community.
As daylight breaks, police find the gruesome remains.
All that remained of Catherine was her right foot, and little remained of Greg.
Thanks to Stacey Lee's confession, Kim's quickly arrested. Her delusion of taking over the horse farm would never be realized.
Would Kim have regret? None. There will be no remorse from Kim Snibson. It's not in her nature.
I sat there in that courtroom for a couple of weeks and she didn't seem to be shedding any tears.
Andrew Flintjar was found guilty of kidnapping and sentenced to 7 years. Stacey Lee Caton was jailed for 16.5 years for aiding and abetting murder. On September 5th, 2008, Kim Snibson is found guilty of murdering Greg Hoser and Catherine McKay. She is sentenced to 32 years.
I think Kim's the only person that really knows why she did what she did.
A small town in Australia will never be the same.
Made people wonder, well, what could happen to anybody? And I think it really shook people up.
A person who does this lacks the quality that makes us human beings.
It's unlikely Kim feels remorse for what she did. Sociopaths never do. If she ever does emerge from prison, watch out.
Melinda strives for a perfect life before her God and her community, until a new man comes along. In the end, she's left with nothing.
You know, they're not thugs, they're not career criminals, they're not violent offenders. They're the kind of people that, before this happened, never in your wildest dreams suspect of being capable of killing somebody. But it happened. It's a very, very unnerving thing.
Some women know what they want from an early age.
Do it.
To live the life of a gangster.
This is where the greed came in.
I am Poe.
Jealousy and ego.
But it is a road paved with misery.
She was the toxic influence. In the end, it got them all killed.
In the late 1990s, the city of Melbourne, Australia, is gripped in a bloody gangland war. Before it's over, some 30 gangsters will be gunned down on suburban streets. Crime matriarch Judy Moran's family is at the heart of the blood battle. Million-dollar drug dealers with mortal enemies.
They were mixed up in shootings, robberies, bashings. They're just disgraceful pieces of humanity.
The first to fall is Judy's oldest son, Mark. Shot dead in cold blood.
Through all this violence, Judy underestimated the other side. She was continually egging the boys on. You can deal with these guys. She always thought the Morans would somehow triumph.
But 3 years later, second son Jason is killed.
This was Judy's world, a world where violence was king.
All could be dealt with, my darling.
Good afternoon.
Judy was born into crime. Her father's a thief, and he passes on his family values.
It's just over there.
Judy was a champion shoplifter. She would walk out wearing 4 coats or several yards of silk tucked under your dress. She learnt to steal the best. Only the best for Judy.
I didn't fit.
Thank you.
Judy was raised on mean streets that all had to do with her being attracted to bad boys.
When it's time for Judy to spread her wings, she falls head over heels for another hustler and thief, Louis Moran.
She enjoyed being the girlfriend of a thief more than she enjoyed the normal life. She relished it.
Champagne to celebrate?
Yeah, champagne sounds perfect.
You look like you've had a win.
Together, they set out to make their mark, doing what they know best,
I'd love some.
fleecing the unsuspecting.
Another one for the lady.
Thank you.
That'd be great.
Judy used to be able to distract attention, position a person.
Oh.
Cheers.
Louis, who was an expert pickpocket, would dip the bloke, as it's called, and they'd be none the wiser.
Better get back to my friend.
Oh, okay then.
They managed to subsist on that sort of thing for quite a while.
That on Adam's like? Yeah, Adam's like.
In the 1990s, the Morans hit the jackpot. Illegal drugs.
Suddenly money was flowing like never before. She started to see herself as almost criminal royalty.
But it is a deadly business. After losing 2 sons, Judy loses her husband to gang wars.
Mrs. Moran?
By now, she is a criminal celebrity.
I am a wife with no husband and a mother with no children. How the hell do you think I feel? Oh, Mrs. Moran?
It gave her a chance to have interviews, and it gave her a chance to flaunt around like an old tart.
Judy loses more than her family.
So, are you going to help me find the money or not?
She loses her income.
Lewis owned property. He owned land, lots of it.
When you get used to living this life of luxury without working for it, then you start to lose relativity, perspective on where you are, and she certainly did.
There's got to be millions stashed away somewhere.
She really thought that she was entitled to all this.
Can't just evaporate, can it?
So where else do you want me to look?
I suggest that you look at his brother, Tuppence. No, he never
But criminals don't leave their money in the bank.
money.
Your choice, Mrs. Moran. Thank you.
Judy is convinced Lewis has hidden his drug fortune around town.
Had enough of your behaviour, Judy.
And that his brother, Des Tuppence Moran, knows where it is.
You're not entitled to anything, Judy.
I am owed.
She perceived that he had the key to all the money. And she thought that there should be many, many millions of money still around.
To placate her, Des offers Judy financial help.
Out of respect for my brother, I will give you an allowance.
How much?
4,000 a month.
With respect, that's not nearly enough.
Well, that's all you're going to
The
get.
gangster queen is livid.
We'll see about that.
This is where the greed came in, and jealousy and ego, and why should I be left like this?
The grieving matriarch will become a murderer. Melbourne, Australia, in 2009.
There's got to be millions stashed away somewhere.
Crime matriarch Judy Moran has lost everything.
How the hell do you think I feel?
Her family is murdered. And now she's relying on handouts from brother-in-law Tuppence Moran.
She was being paid $4,000 per month.
I am owed.
It's not enough for this gangster queen.
Nuts, I've got a favour to ask you, and it could be worth millions to you.
I'm listening.
Tuppence.
Judy decides there should be one more dead Moran.
The problem is he won't give it up.
She hires help. A shooter named Nuts.
So now, the only way that we can get that money is to get rid of the man.
Judy was in a world that killing was an acceptable behavior.
Yeah?
I'm guessing she was probably upset and angry at her losses. And murder was simply not that difficult for her.
Okay. Now here's to it.
What about Indian? Is Indian okay?
It will look like just another gangland hit.
Hey, Mick, you drive, okay?
Sure, there's no one.
Problem was that Des had drunk about 10 pots of beer, and he didn't want to lose his license, so he got his mate to actually drive the car. Nuts strides up thinking the driver must be Des and pings one shot through the windscreen. Miraculously, it lodges in the steering wheel. He goes to fire again, but now the gun jams.
You all right, mate? Yeah. Huh?
Des Moran lives.
Jude, we're in.
Judy doesn't get her money. Time for Plan B. Three months later, at a Melbourne coffee shop,
He's the bastard.
Judy and her hitmen try again, in broad daylight.
I can't imagine why she would do it, because you don't get any money out of dead people.
Des pays for his last meal as two strangely disguised assassins move in.
Nuts is not going to mess this up a second time. He goes and puts 4 into Des on the ground and kills him outright.
It's time for Judy's greatest performance, her alibi.
Not another Miranda.
This is a way she wanted to portray herself to people, to get their sympathy, and, oh, poor Judy again.
It should have been me.
She almost thought it was another episode of a crime show, that the credits would roll and she would get off scot-free.
Oh, no.
She was really quite delusional.
But it's one performance too many for the police. They search her house.
They found the wig, the balaclava, the wind cheater Nuts was wearing, everything. It's like they'd packaged up all the evidence and said, here you are. We don't want to get away with this.
The final Moran episode becomes an open and shut case of murder. The gunman, Nuts, is sentenced to 26 years. And so is the 66-year-old gangster queen, Judy Moran, in August 2011. Judy survived the Melbourne gangland wars, but not her own greed. She may never know freedom again.
She may die in jail, which would be a crushing blow to her. Imagine wearing the same outfit every day. That is death for Judy.
She's fallen for the 3-card trick: envy, hatred, and jealousy.
Love is a powerful force, but love alone can't keep children safe.
When you think of a grandmother, you don't think of someone who's capable of doing such an act.
When this grandma says she'll take care of the kids, she means permanently.
This was a crime motivated by pure selfishness.
In 1993, in Hayward, California. Carolyn Young is as devoted to caring for 6-year-old Darren and 4-year-old Daisha as any mother.
Okay, you can eat up.
But they are not her children.
They were her daughter's children.
Meatballs?
And her daughter did not care for the children, so Grandma had to step in and take care of them.
25-year-old Vanessa Torres has never looked after her own children.
The children's mother had problems with drugs and prostitution. Carolyn Young had custody of both children because their mother was deemed unfit as a parent. So she had custody of these children since they were infants.
Oh, that was great.
Until now, the youngsters' two different fathers have nothing to do with them. And that's the way Grandma Carolyn likes it.
Darren and Daisha had two different fathers. Darren's parents never married and had separated when Darren was very young, so Darren didn't see his father for most of his life.
The mother and the grandmother, they didn't want him in the picture.
But in 1993, that suddenly changes.
I got a question. How can I owe $12,000 in child support payments?
The boy's father, Bruce Barrington, has been looking for Darren since he was a toddler.
Carolyn Young applied for child support. The Family Support Division found out the whereabouts of this young Marine Corps sergeant. He said, well, thank God, I've been looking for my son, and I want to be reunited with him.
I will go to court if I have to get the child back.
And so he took legal steps to get custody.
Carolyn has made a mistake by asking for child support. She has now revealed her grandson's whereabouts.
She just did not want to see Darren return to his father's custody. Carolyn did not want these two kids separated, the kids she had taken care of since they were infants.
They can't do that.
She makes outlandish threats.
I will kill these children before I let them go with Bruce. I will kill them.
She even talked about killing the children rather than losing custody.
They can come with them.
But nobody believed that she would do it.
For some people, their attachment to another person is unhealthy because it consumes them. They lose their sense of self. And the prospect of losing that person causes tremendous pain and disruption.
Bruce is determined to get his son back. He goes to court and wins custody.
I'm his mother. I've always been his mother. I have looked after him. He can't be separated from his sister. You can't have him.
I appreciate everything you've done for Darren.
He went through the proper channels, and his family situation was deemed appropriate for taking custody of the child. He was married. His wife had had a baby, as a matter of fact.
The law has spoken. The court has spoken. He's my son.
I think the stress of losing Darren
I will not let you separate the children.
was caused by something deep-seated in Carolyn that she had not dealt with, possibly a desertion by someone in her past when she was a little girl.
After years of daily devotion, she is shattered at the idea of losing her grandson. Darren belongs to her.
For some women, a person that they love is not so much a person as a possession, and they can't live without it.
Can you join them up with Sam?
Now what started as an idle threat seems like her only option.
Some women find it easier to kill than to say goodbye.
June 19th, 1993. Bruce Barrington has won custody of his 6-year-old son, Darren.
Wait, he's finally coming home. See you soon.
And is excited to be picking him up. Across town, his son and his sister from another father are asleep. But Carolyn Young has no intention of handing over her grandson.
Bruce, I tried to tell you that the children should not be separated, that Daisha and Darren were happy together and they needed each other. But you were too bullheaded to listen.
Carolyn did not want to relinquish custody of Darren back to his father, who was coming to pick him up that same day.
Carolyn's anger and retribution was like a smoldering furnace inside her. She couldn't put out the fire.
She probably was operating under the misguided notion that if I can't have these children, no one can. And she did the most despicable thing imaginable. There's nothing more despicable than the brutal murder of innocent children, and this one was really a horrendous crime. Unbelievable in its depravity.
Carolyn slits Darren's throat.
This was a crime motivated by pure selfishness.
When you think of a grandmother, you don't think of someone who's capable of doing such an act. I just don't understand how you can slaughter someone that you love.
Carolyn had a cigarette. She had time to stop and think about what she was doing, to pause and perhaps put down the knife and call for help. But she didn't.
Vanessa Torres, the boy's mother, woke up and found her son Darren in bed with his throat slit. It was certainly a chaotic scene. Vanessa reported that she saw her mom's kimono covered in blood. In complete horror, she asked her mother, "Mama, why did you do this? Why did you kill my child?"
They need to stay together.
It is about to get worse.
Grabs the baby girl, Daisha, slits her throat, and stabs her in the chest as well.
The boy's mother manages to call 911.
Killing someone with a knife is a very personal thing. It's one thing to stand off and shoot somebody, but to hold someone against your own body and stab someone repeatedly.
She could have silently smothered them while they were sleeping. She didn't. She could have shot them and they would have been killed instantly. She didn't do that either. She used a knife to end their life.
And so she had to hold these children against her until they succumbed.
But Carolyn isn't finished.
This is a horrible crime. Carolyn may have been disturbed at the time, but she was definitely not legally insane. She knew what she was doing was wrong.
Darren was 6 years old. Daisha was 4, and she slaughtered them like lambs. Every officer that touched that crime scene was impacted.
It wasn't enough for Caroline to simply murder Barrington's little boy. She wanted to taunt him from her grave.
I'm here to pick my son.
I have some very bad news for you. Your son's been murdered.
I'm sorry, I got custody of him this morning.
I'm sorry.
That told me everything I needed to know about Carolyn Young. That she was blinded by selfishness, vindictive,
At the crime scene, Detective Bill Cooper discovers Carolyn's suicide note.
She actually wrote this letter as if she was already dead. She said, "I am a very angry spirit right now, and I'm going to come back to get even with those who have hurt me and mine. Every baby your wife has, I will come back and get it."
Carolyn's suicide attempt fails. In 1995, Carolyn Young is convicted of 2 counts of murder and sentenced to death.
The reason that Carolyn Young killed those children was she didn't want to see them separated. I know that doesn't make any sense, but that's the way she kept them together.
Carolyn doesn't die by human hands, but natural causes. After 10 years in jail, her death comes from kidney failure.
It's always difficult to understand why children were murdered, but Carolyn's case is the most selfish, egregious murder of children I've ever studied.
In my career, there are a few cases that I wish I could forget about, but can't, and this is one of them.